is not an enormous amount to pay. And of course you're going to pay that ongoing for many years if you're going to get a great product, right?
I mean, knowing what I know now, if it costs $300 a month, it's nothing at all. It's literally a joke. I mean, we worked out that. I mean, one of the decisions I made was, do we go to a graphic designer and get them to design the front end, and then bolt that on?
You know how expensive that can be.
We could have done that, and one was the expense, and two, I thought, if we're going to be making the amount of changes that I know we want to make to our website, literally daily,
to them all day long, won't
you? And so the best thing to do it was in-house, and so it was like with Anna doing the graphic design in-house. One of the things, because her knowledge of HTML and some of those things wasn't fantastic, you've got to allow for a fair bit of learning curve, which can take a lot of time. I mean, I'd go, we need this and these functions, and she'd be like, I can do that, I can do this, but I've got to go and learn this. Sometimes that'd take an hour of her searching around in forums and things. Sometimes it'll take 3 weeks. So you've got to allow for a bit of unknown, and with the unknown comes time and frustration. But the beautiful thing is that it's a retained skill set. So now you've effectively paid someone to learn on your time, if you like, or in the business's time, but now they know so much more and they feel free to go and learn things that now, I mean, I always ask, who's our web developer? And I'm like, we do it. And they look at you with these blank looks. I mean, it's the platform they're often talking about, but also the clean lines. It's the combination of both makes it work.
The design. I suspect that's what made it easy for David and I with Arts Hub, was that if we needed a change, I'd just ask David to do it. He'd go and do it.
And you underestimate how many you make.
Responsiveness you can have. And you do need to make sometimes constant change if there's a special campaign on or something. We ran something called artsvoter.com, and there needed to be lots of changes during that campaign. If you had to contact someone outside of the company and you were on their schedule, you just couldn't be that responsive.
And you can't be flexible too. Like we put out an email marketing campaign today, and this product that we use has an inbuilt email marketing campaign. It's got a pretty basic CRM product in there as well. We're probably about to. So you've got email addresses, you've got email marketing, you've got a bit of CRM in there as well. We're getting to the point where we're probably going to take all our email addresses and use Google for that, and we're probably going to use one of the bigger email marketing programs, MailChimp or Aweber or one of those guys. But for the 2 years, for the 18 months that we've been using this Business Catalyst platform, all those functions have been fine for us. Fine. So the thing is too, it's like you underestimate how many changes you do make, and when you've got all this skill set in house, you make lots and lots more changes, and we test all the time. I said we sent out an email marketing campaign today. We decided that it really needed its own landing page for people to click through, and so we just built one in half an hour.
I mean, love that.
And that's great, and that's something that's even without someone as skillful as Anna, you can still build a basic enough page to be able to, for your analytics, to know where they're going and where they're going from. So we possibly wouldn't better have the slickness of design we've got now with someone with a skill set, but even with some pretty basic graphic design skills, you can build a fairly functional website and save yourself a fortune. So.
Has it been worth it to the whole business? Has it hit your bottom line and made you more money?
Yeah, we look. Even the level before that, we wouldn't exist without website and web sales. Beginning of last year, when the financial crisis started hitting, we saw a lot of our corporate business disappear, which I've talked about in one of the previous interviews. But also a lot of the smaller retailers that we sell to. I mean, as a business, we don't sell to any of the big chains, so we sell to little, one-off operators, or they might have 2 or 3 stores, but they were all, they were feeling the pinch. David Jones might have been recording record profit numbers, but smaller retailers in the shopping strips and were really hurting. So we were getting smaller orders and having longer payment terms. Our terms weren't changed, but we'd taken a long time to get money from people. So it became really kind of apparent that some of these retailers weren't going to survive and that we were going to take a hit. So I went through, at the same time we were looking to really condense the type of stores we were selling to. We wanted to sort of just streetwear stores and design stores, and that was the perfect fit for us. The products we had, and what that meant was I got rid of about initially a third of the retailers that we had. One, because they either weren't a good fit, they were more the products we were selling in the past, not the future. And or the orders were getting too small. They've gone from being $1,000 a month order to $300 a month, and $300 every 2 months, and chasing that amount of money just wasn't worth doing. So the reason I had confidence to do that, when you're thinking, why would you do that if you're going into a financial crisis and everything's becoming tighter, wouldn't you want any money coming to the door? Kind of yes and no, but the confidence of us, we were doing a lot of sales into the US with our website.
Yep.
And if we sell one of our sleeves, they're not the cheapest product in the world. They sell for $99. We make our sleeves for about $22. So if you
good margin.
It's good margin. Whereas if we're wholesaling it for about 45.
Not so good margin.
Not so great margin. Great margins on good volumes, but the volumes of us were increasing. So in the end, it was a decision that became easier and easier to make and become much better for us as a business. But the web platform allowed us to do that.
What would you do differently if you were to do a new or different shopping site?
I'd concentrate, I guess, a lot more on the user design stuff, which I've become a little kind of mini backseat expert on, but using the very loose use of the term expert. But I mean, I know enough now to know what we need to do, and then get some people in to actually really help us with that. I kind of underestimate. There's so much to do when you're first getting a website up.
Yeah.
Then you get an e-commerce site up. You're so happy to put the tyres and the wheels on the car that making one that's fuel efficient or whatever is the last thing in your mind. But you eventually get to those bits. And so now I'd bring in. I mean, knowing we know now as a business, we'd still build it in-house.
Yep.
If we had the same people involved. I'd definitely bring in some people that had some expertise in some of those other areas that could, because we're fortunate that we use our website in some unusual ways as well. If you come into the store, we don't have a cash register in the store that we do transactions through. If you pick a sleeve or a bag off the shelf, we bring it up to the front counter and we do the transaction through the website. And the beautiful thing about that is, one, if people haven't been to our website, it shows them how to drive it. Especially for one of our billboard products, we might have to go to the third or fourth page in there to find this product, which means if someone then asks them, hey, where did you get that sleeve? And they're like, well, I bought it from this company that makes recycled stuff. They're in Fitzroy. They can also hold that person's hand and take them to the website. So they almost become this kind of advocate, evangelist, all that type of stuff as well. So for us, I guess you know more than what you did when we first started.
Absolutely.
But yeah, look,
you've got to get started and do it, don't you?
You've got to jump in the game.
There's no other way.
Got to jump in the game.
There aren't
definitely.
really any shortcuts, are there? It's all learning.
I guess hopefully you'll learn pretty quickly. And now it's easier than ever because the cost of websites have dramatically shrinking. As a business, you can get away with having a Twitter page and a Facebook site and a few other little things where you possibly don't need a full-scale website or a selling website until a little bit further down the track, depending on what you're selling, what you're doing, of course. But it's easy to have initially just a web presence. You might be able to sell through someone else's website for a while. It's easy if you are hand-to-mouth or you're growing organically. There's a lot of different ways to skin the cat now, where a few years ago you kind of had to do it yourself, or you had to have your own site and it's not necessarily do it yourself.
Yeah. Thank you for your time today, Scott, and thanks for sharing your thoughts on setting up an e-commerce platform.
No worries, Fiona. Thanks for that.
Thank you. I've been speaking to Scott Kilmartin, and today we were talking about the Hall e-commerce platform in response to a Twitter request that we find out all that there is to know about the Hall e-commerce experience.